What up, Patreon? You guys know who I am, and this is C103. Say hi. Hi. That's good. And the Sasquatch. Y'all just left places that we shan't speak of on camera.
Well, he did a video.
Well, he did, but we don't know. See, we don't know when this is going to post.
He already posted his.
He already posted his.
Ah.
I operate with a lot of cushion, so it could be weeks before this video ever sees the light of day.
Are you saying you need to have some weight loss?
No, I do need to have some weight loss, but that's not the cushion I'm talking about.
Uh-oh. My life is about to get painful.
The hat the internet loves to hate. So
Oh, yeah.
I'll just turn this around because you're not allowed to have opinions. Or have a brother give you a hat out of the kindness of his heart. So, whatever.
Capital offense.
Capital offense. God forbid somebody would be nice to somebody else. All right. Hillbilly Hen asked tips for setting up a home range. First, do you have the room for a home range? If you do not, don't. If you don't have acreage, I would say at least 10 acres. At least. Would you agree?
I have 5, but I do have a lot of dirt and a lot of cross ties,
Okay.
and it is uphill.
And how many people are near you?
800 acres
800. You have
past. I
800.
only have 5.
That's what I'm getting at. There's not another 5-acre homestead right next door to you.
No.
Okay.
With 22 kids that run all over.
Right. So you need to have the room first. So if you're on 1/3 of an acre in town, that's not a good place for a range.
Actually, first, check your county and your state laws.
Mm-hmm.
If you live in the city, it ain't happening.
Yep. We were gonna go there, but that's a good thing. Make sure that it's legal for you to have a home range. Here in Oklahoma, it's absolutely legal for you to have a home range. Elsewhere, probably not, and in other places, questionable. So get a hold of your local county people and ask some good questions. Then you need berms and backstops. So basically, like, if this is your range, right, and this is a great teaching tool. You see this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. So if this is your range and you're shooting this way, you need dirt. You need a berm, a backstop at the end of this, and also down both sides, depending on what you're doing and how you're doing it. So
Preferably 8 to 10 feet tall.
yeah, preferably 8 to 10 feet tall. But you need a good backstop for sure to catch your rounds. And depending on what you're shooting, you need a really good backstop. Because I know a guy who's got a light 50, and he's only allowed to shoot 5 rounds a month at his local outdoor range because it obliterates the berm. And they literally have to do repairs to the berm every time he goes out there, and it's just for sighting purposes only. So if you're going to shoot, 50 BMG, you need a really good berm. If you're going to shoot 5.56, not a problem, or 22 or handgun rounds or anything like that, just have a good berm, something that's going to catch the rounds.
What would you say, like railroad ties behind the dirt?
Yeah, railroad ties are good, or you can also, depending on what you're doing, just stack the dirt. Mm-hmm. You can basically, if you looked at it like this from the side, have a hump of dirt that you're shooting into, but it needs to be a good size pile of dirt. Like, have heavy equipment that you're doing this with. Don't just get out there with a shovel and think that you're going to stack some dirt up and make a decent berm out of it.
What is it, 14 inches of dirt is required for a 5.56?
Yeah, 14 sounds right. I think, though, that...
7 of wet sand. Sorry.
Yeah, it's cool. So we talked about neighbors. You also want to think about noise, right? So where you are, you got 800 acres next to you, right?
Yes, woodland.
Woodland. Noise isn't a huge consideration for anybody else who's near you.
No.
But again, if you're living on, you got your little slice of heaven directly next to somebody else's little slice of heaven, and you go out and on the regular blow through several hundred rounds, even if, they're freedom-loving patriots, sooner or later, that's going to get annoying. So if you have neighbors, you need to go talk to them first and let them know, hey, this is something you're thinking of doing. And they might say, oh, we already have one. Cool. Become friends. Join a mag. Be a team. Fall in love. Do all the things, right? Or they might tell you you're an a-hole and tell you to leave or whatever. But at least talk to them. Let them know what the deal is.
Take pie over first time.
Take pie. Yeah, taking pie is, and not just a piece of paper with 3.14597 written on it. Paper versus steel targets. You shoot steel on your range?
No, mine's paper.
Yours
Can't
is
afford
paper.
steel.
Yeah, steel's not cheap, but I like steel because it's immediate feedback. You know when you've hit steel. But for, you know, accuracy testing, steel is less than ideal. But for, you know, combat accuracy, as they call it, the immediate feedback of steel is every time you ring that steel, I just love it. But it is expensive. But you're going to want something to hold targets. So think about that. And there's lots of, you can buy, I think they're 22 caliber rated plates at Walmart in the outdoor aisle. So if you're just plinking with 22s, and they're not terribly expensive, they're like $20-ish, right? Something like that.
If you're really lucky, they occasionally have like AR-500, and sometimes
Yeah.
for the target plates, sometimes you can get a good deal, but that's rare.
Yeah, they got like little gongs, like
Yeah.
6-inch, 8-inch gongs.
Or you can use your old beat-up body armor.
Or you can use your old beat-up body armor and see how, you know, you can get famous like Demo Ranch. Harlan loves Demo Ranch. He will not
Fun to watch.
He will not stop watching Demo Ranch. It's like, Dad, did you know how many windshields it takes? I have no idea. Just tell me. You know, save me the time of watching the video. How many? So, I like steel for immediate feedback, and for plinking, it's at least reasonable. You can do that. But otherwise, getting the AR-500 plates, you're gonna have to come out of pocket for that. But for like zeroing a rifle, steel's not going to be very advantageous for you. You can spray paint the steel and then see where your rounds are impacting and so forth and so on. But it's nice to actually have a bullseye that you're going to hold on to walk the rounds in. Safety and medical. Who there is shooting with you who actually knows how to shoot at a range and not, you know, present their weapon and squeeze the trigger in the process and blow a hole through their femur. And while they're doing that, who's going to put them back together again? So you want to have some competency, medically speaking, on range at all times, and somebody needs to know what they're doing there, at least be familiar with weapons. So you should, I mean,
I've seen that.
yeah.
I've been there when a guy did that.
Right.
A guy who was a U.S. Marine, who had been seconded to the Royal Marines, thought he knew it all, decided to go out and John Woo.
Yep. Shot himself through the leg.
Yep, didn't even clear his leather before he discharged the round out through the outside of his thigh, right around his knee, and then down through his calf and out around his ankle.
Ugh. Bleh.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do to fix that? Because, yeah, you could call 911, although if you're in an area where you can have an outdoor range, it's going to take them a while to get there. So you have, like, all the medical kits and all the medical skills, right? My war belt that I wear for range day has a full blowout kit on it, specifically for addressing gunshot wounds, because there's guns there. And so you should have at least the medical skills, proficiency, and equipment to address gunshot wounds if you're going to have a shooting range on property, because that's just bad news. And then there's different setups for different weapons. So if you're just going to be plinking and shooting pistols, you know, a 25-yard to 50-yard range is good to go.
More than you need for a pistol.
More than you need for a pistol. Although it is fun to shoot pistol at long distances. So, yeah, I shot Hayden, Squid's boy. I shot Hayden's target. He made a plywood target of a jihadi on it.
I'm glad you finished that out there, because basically you're saying you shot Squid's kid.
Well, it occurred to me several times. He thought he was, you know, he's a young guy in his early 20s, and several times we went out to the parking lot and I'd play with him for a few minutes, then I'd punch him in the kidney and make him pee blood for a few days and leave him in the gravel and then go back inside. So
It's just an expression of love.
You know, it's just, you know, sometimes, and this is a lesson to all the younger people. Not that I'm old, but don't mess with the old people, because they don't have time to play with you. They'll just kill you.
Old age and treachery.
They'll just kill you. Like they're not going to go fisticuffs with you. They're just going to kill you. They will escalate to deadly force about that quick. Whereas the younger guys will talk smack and put their dukes up and pull their knives out and all that. No, old people just kill you. They're just going to shoot you. So
especially if you're presenting yourself as a leader of the opposition.
Yeah. If
you're going down.
Yeah, if you're making a target out of yourself. Anyway, so Hayden made this lovely plywood target I think he named the guy Ahmed, and he put the vertebrae in it, you know, C-spine and terminal T, and then the brain pan, and he got it all set up, and he was super proud of it. And from about 25 yards away, I just presented my weapon and one-handed put a round right through the brain pan in his target. And he was really upset about that because I killed Ahmed before he even got a chance to squeeze the trigger on it. So to that end, plywood does work for targets. If you have like any spare plywood, or you got a buddy with a cabinet shop who has like plywood remnants, there's certain pieces, sizes of plywood, they're just not useful. No matter what you do, if you have like a piece of plywood, you know, that's, you know, 1/4-inch plywood that's 20 inches by 32 inches, you're never gonna, like, you'll just never, what are you gonna do with it?
And that's what our range actually uses as a back piece.
Plywood?
For the, you have your cardboard base, and you put your targets to that. But it's got, I'm assuming, scrap plywood beyond that on the H, and you know, that works great.
Yeah, I have plywood out here. Mine are laid over at the other end of that hayfield, but I have plywood out here, 3/4 ply that I use, and you could staple up targets to it or whatever. And so, pistol, shotgun, rifle, carbine. You know, 100 yards for carbine is about what most people are going to run. You know, should you have a 300-yard carbine? Yeah, you probably shouldn't, but you could go to Gunsight, you could go to Thunder Ranch. If you wanted to do those things, you could go to
Valor Ridge goes out to 600.
Valor Ridge, right? You could go do those things there, but you know, most people on their carbine are probably going to do a 50 or 75 meter, maybe 100 meter zero on their rifle. So beyond that, don't really need it. Is it nice to have? Yeah, but you don't really need it.
A lot of people in a pinch, if they're doing their carbine or even their AR, of, you know, a longer length. Let's face it, most people are going to do their zero on the reduced target at 25 yards.
Yep, that's exactly right.
And they're going to decide whether or not they're going to do the zero for 100 yards at that point, 200 yards, or 300.
Yep.
There's big arguments about that, almost as big as the 9 versus 40 versus 45.
Right.
One kills your soul, the other one just annoys you. But you know, in all honesty, you can do your job on that. And then if you get the greater range, that's where you get to fine-tune yourself.
Right. Yeah, you could get on paper, you know. And most people, and this is actually worth talking about, most people have the weapons and never use them.
Yep.
So good on you for asking the question of what do I do to get a home range set up, because, man, the vast majority of people, especially I'll meet people, you know, come out to events, or, you know, we go do, you know, training or whatever, and their weapon's never been fired. They're not zeroed. I'm like, what are you doing with this thing? Oh, this is my SHTF gun. So you're going to zero the thing as the world's ending? That's your plan? Like, you have to, yeah, it doesn't count if it's not zeroed.
I don't claim to be a great rifleman, right? I shoot well enough.
Mm-hmm.
We've had a number of people off the Revolting Man's channel talk about how much of a Nimrod I am because I don't have the most high-tech thing. Of course, I didn't ask about the sight because that was something for me to see whether or not my eyes after surgery would work.
Right.
Someone gave me a cheap red dot. I got that. And we got all sorts of blowback about how I'm a numpty. But I put 300 rounds a week.
Right.
Every week.
Right.
Downrange. And after my eye surgeries, I sucked.
Right.
Now, I'd shoot expert. But as far as I'm concerned, that's a great starting point.
Yeah.
That's a great starting point.
Yeah, 300 rounds a week is a lot more than most people are shooting. Most people are maybe shooting 300 rounds every 90 days. And then I'd say the vast majority of people beyond that are lucky if they shoot 300 rounds a year.
Well, the sad thing is I'm shooting 260 rounds more than I need to qualify as a cop.
Well, that's another,
every week.
That's another story for another time. But so as far as, you know, pistol, rifle, shotgun, and carbine, you do not need a long range. You know, out to 100 meters, you're good to go. For long gun, you know, it depends on what are you going to do with this long gun, and what is it. You know, if it's a 243 deer rifle, sight that thing at 100 yards, call it good. And I mean, you guys it's your first time here, and you understand. Like, I could go out here and hit them with a rock. There's no shots that far around here.
Yeah,
you know,
50 at the most.
Yeah. So I have a clear 75-yard shot over there on that side of the creek. 75 yards, that's it. But I mean, depends on where you're at. You know, you go West Texas, you see a 1/4 mile
or more.
or more.
Yeah.
So it depends. And what are you shooting? Because I haven't met anybody who can shoot a 243 at a quarter mile, but I'm sure there's somebody out there. Oh, my cousin did it one time and slapped a squirrel right in the tail end with a 243.
I don't know. I think that Norwegian huntress gal, Maya.
Yeah, she's good.
She could probably do that. She's an amazing
Doesn't she
shot.
use an 8mm?
She uses a couple different ones. I think she was shooting 6.5 last season,
Okay.
actually.
Okay.
But she's, what, 21 years old?
Yeah, it has the eyes for it. And
Yeah, she got the eyes for it, but she's
yeah.
phenomenal shot.
Yeah. Yeah, my little Cheyenne. I was going to say my little girl. She's now my biggest girl. But Cheyenne is like, she's stupid serious behind a rifle. Something comes over her, and she just gets super stoic. She's a very good shot.
So she's kind of like Rain Man with a rifle?
Kind of, yeah. You know,
And I'm not derogatory.
no, I mean, no, normally she she wants her hair braided and her nails done, and you hand her a rifle, and she goes a whole other direction, man. She gets super good at it. So, anyway, we've kind of traipsed all over this subject, but tips for setting up a home range. There's lots of decent information on the web. You might want to go to a professional outdoor range, pay for a day to spend a day on the range, and look around. Use it as a recon to see what you want to do, what you don't want to do. And I really can't stress enough, make sure that it's legal that you do it there. Make sure that you have a clear lane of fire that you can be shooting in, and make sure that you have the medical, the training and the equipment on site, that if you have an emergency, there's something that you can do about it. Because if you're far enough out in the sticks to be able to have a home range, nobody's getting to you quick. Somebody could die. They could bleed out and die if you don't have that on hand. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on that.
Don't shoot incendiary rounds at home.
Don't shoot incendiary rounds at home.
Because, again, I've seen that go bad, too.
You got anything to add?
You covered it.
I covered it?
Covered it.
Alrighty then. You sure?
Yep.
Okay. C103 says we're good, so
You're good.
we're good. We're good. Shalom.